What's up, guys? So the last couple videos I filmed with my phone because I was just out here doing some work and I thought I would just make a video of it since I hadn't put any videos up in a while. But now that we're all moved in and I'm kind of all unpacked in here now, I'm able to, get to some projects. So something that I really haven't put on the channel much is my motor van. I mean, you've seen it here and there in a video just appear, but I've really not went over anything. So we're going to do a little bit of that today, and then I'm going to show you the main project that I've been wanting to do since I've got the van, but I haven't done it. So today I'm just going to go over everything and show you what I'm going to do. Alright, so we're going to go out to the van, and as you might or might not know, this is a 2002 Chevy Astro van, which are, pretty reliable vehicles. They've got a pretty big following of just people that use them for traveling and just, whatever. They've got followings of people that do them and everything from, filling them with speakers for bass competitions. People that do moto camping and camping in them like I do. People that just travel in them, and people that just everyday drive them because they're just reliable vehicles. So I picked this one up about February last year, maybe, something like that. And of course it was an old work van, so it didn't have none of this in here. The bed and the cabinet I built, it just had that divider wall and the door there. There was a door that went between there. I took it off because it wasn't going to be opening anymore once I put my bed in. So basically all I've done is build this bed here, which is super solid. You can see I've kind of got some covering plywood over because it's just built out of 2x4s and 1x1s, and then it's got this plywood covering to kind of round the edges and make it look a little bit better. And then you've still got your storage underneath for all my camping stuff. And then I've just pretty much attached it to the wall. It's only attached on the back wall. The rest of this is just sitting here, and you can see it'll lift up a little bit, but other than that, it's super solid. I've slept on it, man. I've camped in here twice on different trips that I've taken for motorcycling, and then I actually got to work, like, I guess I woke up before my alarm and didn't really look at the clock and just left, because I leave it, and I wake up at 3:50 a.m. and I get to work, a little after 4. So I got to work super early one time because I guess I just dreamed my alarm went off, and then I came back here and slept for another hour or two. And yeah, it's great because I bought this memory foam. This is 6 inches of memory foam on top of here. And then what I'll do, it's not bad on its own, it's just fine, but I also like to take a comforter and I double it up over it, and then it's like a pillow top from there, and then I just use a pillow and a blanket, and it's great. It's not exactly fit for this because this is it's super expensive to buy this stuff, very big, but this one came with a cover and it was already in this shape for like a single bed, and it's a little bit short and a little bit wide, but it doesn't really matter. It just fits for what it is. I think I paid like 60 or 70 bucks for it, and compared to the other ones, which are over 100 for ones that I would have had to cut and then make a cover for and everything, it's just fine for what it is. So anyway, got the bed, got the mattress on there, and that's basically all I've done besides start a cabinet over here. And basically the same thing. I'm not a woodworker by any means. Most of this was just scrap, like the inner parts, and then I think I purchased this just for like a topper and the sides and everything, and just to kind of cover up the wheel well. And I can still get in here and walk between everything. I can move around, do whatever I need to do when I'm in here at night or in the morning or something, waking up. But basically what I wanted to do here was really make another covering for this and just have like openings for like cubby, like a cubby opening, and then have like maybe a mesh over it or something. But then I was kind of wanting to take my stove, which I have a little Coleman stove way up there in the corner. It's just like a double burner propane stove. I wanted to be able to build a shelf about that thick and be able to slide it in there, and then maybe have something that holds it in there, maybe some straps or something, I don't know. That way I could pull it out and sit it on top here if I wanted to cook here, but normally I would cook back here on the, back with the door open, because you really don't want to cook in an enclosed area with propane. At least not the little Coleman stoves, so I've read, you know, like the buddy heaters, you don't want to have them without any kind of ventilation. So yeah, that's kind of what's going on. This is super sturdy. You can see I built it all with like angle brackets everywhere, and it's all kind of tied together. Then it's all, you can see I drilled in here and set a little bit, that way the screws are kind of hidden, and I've just kind of mounted it all to the frame there. And this back area, it's not in here now. I've actually took it out because it's been sitting here, and I got it soaking with a little, just like a cap full of bleach in it. It's my water container. I got a big blue jug that I stick right here, and then I just use this strap to run from here to there, and then it kind of keeps it moving around. It really doesn't move anyway if it's full of water, but if it's empty, it will move a little bit. So I use that for my big water tank, which is sitting way over there on the porch. I don't know how many gallon that is, but it's plenty for one person camping in a van. I mean, it'd be enough to take a quick shower, wash up, and then cook with it and drink out of it, and that thing. I use it to fill my camelbacks for when I go on a ride for the day, and that kind of thing. So anyway, that's really the gist of it. Basically the front's all the same. I just got my GPS and my dash cam up there. I've got a full Android stereo system, the touchscreen in there that's got GPS and everything in it. And yeah, it's basically all stock except for, you know, the little things I've built back here. But now we can get on to what my next plan is. So on the top here, like I said, it used to be an old work van. I've got this old rack, and I guess it was from like a plumber or somebody just doing any kind of whatever work, you know. And it's a nice rack, but I don't need it. Plus it's angled, so I don't like that it's angled. I can't really use it because it is angled, and I can't build like a flat rack to put stuff up there out of it. But what I can do, let me get up here, since this is all mounted in already, I can just unbolt this, use these prior brackets that are already on here, and go ahead and build my own rack, which is what I'm going to be doing. And then what I've always wanted to do is put solar panels on top of here. Since I've got it, I've really wanted solar panels, and I don't need a lot. So I looked it up, kind of did a little bit of research, and really all I'll need is about a 100-watt system with one deep cycle battery, and that will keep me, I think it says it does a lot. I mean, this is like in the best conditions, I guess. So under best conditions, you'll get like 34 hours out of 1 day's charge. But basically what it's talking about is like a full battery, I guess. So a full deep cycle battery, you'll get about 34 hours of laptop use, which is the biggest thing I plan to use in here. I mean, like my laptop to watch movies at night when I'm camping, and charge my phone, and a couple LED lights, and that's it. That's all I need. I mean, I'm not running anything else in here. So that's my plan. So I plan to have the charger, like the controller, kind of mounted right back up there on the wall. However, I might be able to do that. But what's really nice about these work vans, they've got these panels, so there's like, you're not gonna, if you put a screw in there, as long as it's a short one, you're not gonna go through the outside panel. You've got these brackets to screw into. Now on the bottoms, it didn't really matter because I'm just screwing down. It's not gonna leak any. But anything you want to do up top, like all these bolts and stuff for the rack, are all sealed. There's like rubber on the upper sides and everything. But then you've got the upper rack, the structural support that you could drill into if you needed to without drilling through the main hole of the van. So mount the controller there, panels on top, and put my battery right down there next to that wheel well, and kind of make a box for it so it doesn't bounce around. So now we can move on to what I've got to do this. Now I was looking at some expensive systems, and before I get into those, because I'm only going to use this, man, well, unless it's really nice and I feel like doing more with it, I'm only going to use this maybe 4 or 5 times a year. So I went ahead and looked up the reviews on this, and they were really good results. So I was looking at some other ones, some other kits, and they were quite a bit more expensive. I'm talking $300 more than this, and I just paid about 200 bucks for this. And they were, you know, the same thing but a little bit more expensive, which might be fine. I mean, I might find out later that I don't like this, but for now this is what I want to try. So for 200 bucks I'm gonna get into the solar stuff and see what it's about, see if I like it, and we'll go from there. So this came from Harbor Freight, and with their 20% off coupon it came down to like $155. It was like $189 normally. And we got a tractor going by, so wait for that for just a second. So for $155 you get 4 25-watt panels that tie in for a total of 100 watts. You get your charge controller right here. It's got USB output so you can charge your devices and that kind of thing. It's got all the brackets to mount all the panels together as one unit and connect them all as one unit. And then it also comes with, man, there was just a convoy of tractors going by. Hopefully they're mowing my ditch because I hate weed eating that thing. It also comes with these LED bulbs. So these are just, I don't know what I'll do with them. I'm kind of wanting to just chop the wire and maybe get something smaller, something that flush mounts, because these are supposed to like be like this, you know, hanging down, which is cool, because it's all included. But I would rather, you know, these bulbs even come unscrewed, so I guess you could put them in any socket because that's just the standard socket there. But what I want to do is cut the wire and hook up something really flush mount. That way I can flush mount it up to the top of my van next to my cargo lights that click on with the normal car battery. So anyway, it comes with 2 of them. Charge controller, your brackets, your battery connector, your splicer to put all the panels together. And these lights even have their own switches on them. And then also you've got a switch because they plug in, the lights plug in, like these are DC outputs. So these are just normal barrel connectors, so you could get just about whatever you wanted and plug them into there. And then you can click these lights and it'll turn on and off just by the click of that button. So I can turn both lights on and off with the click of one button, or individual lights with the click of the switches on the lights. So that's pretty cool. So 4 panels, controller, all that good stuff. And then this I bought separately, so I had my wife go in with me and she used the discount coupon too. So this battery is like $69.99, and with the discount it was like 55 bucks. So it's pretty good. And man, it's a hefty little battery here. It's bigger than a lawn and garden battery, as in height and width and even the heaviness of it. It's a deep cycle and it's made for the solar. It's same branding and everything. And these have really good reviews too. It's 12 volts, 35 amp hours, and it comes with a carry handle. It's really nice. And it's funny because I've been needing a battery for that John Deere. It's got an actual John Deere branded battery in it, and I've been needing a battery for that forever, and I've just been too cheap to buy one because I'll just jump it. I mean, why put a battery in it if I can just put the jump box on it real quick and do it that way, rather than keep putting a battery in it and have to take it out and put it on a tender every year. But then I go and buy a battery for my solar stuff. But you know, that's a little different. I need a battery for that. You can't jump start your solar system. So yeah, so I got the battery. So that's the battery that it recommends, that it says it gets the 34 hours off of one battery, you know, so for like a laptop or something, you know. So I've got my hardware that I'm going to build my rack out of, and I was looking for some hat metal because I watched a video where a guy used some hat metal, and I'd actually never heard of hat metal, but it's just metal that's shaped like a hat. It's basically like this, but it's got 2 ears coming off either side, so you could drill it down to whatever you're working with. But I went to Menards, they didn't have it. I didn't go to Lowe's because I didn't want to make multiple stops. So I ended up getting this. This is like racking that you like put up on the wall vertical, and then you hook your shelf bracket into it and then put a board across and you make your shelves out of it. Super cheap. I think it was like $6 for these short ones and like 7 or 8 for the long ones. So what I did was I've got 5 of these, because if I have 4 panels I'm going to need 3 in between and then 2 on each side, so I'll need 5 of them to support everything, to make sure there's no flex because I plan on being able to take this on and off at, you know, when I'm using it, when I'm not, because I don't want to leave it up there for it to get hit by rocks or anything, leave it out in the weather 24/7. I just want to use it for when I need it. That way I don't have to be replacing it every year, a couple years, whatever it may be that it might last out in the weather. or if it hails, I guess, and I'm not using wouldn't that be a pain? Like if you're not even using the panels and it's like hailing out, you're like, oh, there goes my panels again. So that's what I plan on doing. So I want to build a nice rack, that way I can get up there, unbolt it, take it off as one unit. I've got no flex in it, and I can take the panels off and store them inside, you know, stick them up in the rafters, because I've got plenty of room up there to store things. So I went and got these. These are already cut like this, and you can already see I've got one panel laid out here that they're about, you know, 4 inches or so longer on each side. So I'm going to cut them. Then I can build it to exactly what I need. And then the long ones are longer than 4 panels laid out, you know, the ends of the 4 panels. So that's what I plan on doing, is building that rack for it, and then I can cut this down and make it the exact size I want. And then what I'll hopefully do, I don't know if this is galvanized or not. I don't think you can paint galvanized. No, I don't know what it is. I'll have to look at it. But I don't think you can paint galvanized metal, because it'll just flake off. But I'll see what I can do. But I'm hoping I can paint it, but I guess if not, then I'll just do what I can with it. So that's the plan. 4 solar panels on top, take the old racking off, and build a little control panel system for it to mount all that to. Oh, and the last thing, to tie it all in, you need an inverter. So the whole system for this recommends a 300 watt inverter, and I've already got this in here because I used to just bring a fully charged battery and plug it in, but it recommends a 300 watt, and I've got a 410 watt inverter, and it's got one plug. Actually, it's got 2 plugs, so it's got 2 normal plugs on it to plug in, you know, whatever, your laptop or whatever, and then it's got 1 USB plug. I don't know if that's an actual charging plug or not. I've never tried that, but it does have that on there, and you know, everything. So I'll mount that to the panel back on this wall with everything. But so that'll all go together. I kind of had it mounted there because I used to just bring a battery and do it that way, but you know, then you had to have a battery sitting there in your doorway. Kind of annoying. But anyway, that's the van. A little bit of a Moto van, you know. Got some Moto stickers on there, so at least it kind of looks like a Moto van. Yeah. So that's what I'm going to be working on today. Kind of got my bike lift up to use it as a table, so it kind of nice because it doubles as a table when you're not storing your bike on it. So I'm going to get to work on that, cut all these brackets, and see what I come up with. So stay tuned and we'll take a look. Alright guys, so a little bit of an update on what I've accomplished so far. I've got everything cut down, and I'm building the main bracket. This is just where all 4 panels are going to be mounted to. And then from that, I figured out that I need to build a separate bracket, which I don't have the metal for right now, to actually go on top of there from each post, the 4 posts. And then on that bracket, I can mount my stuff to be able to mount one end of this, the end with the wires that you don't want raising and lowering, on a pivot point. That way it can pivot. And then I can put something on this side with like maybe a pin of some type, maybe a pin going through each side to be able to keep it flat when I want it flat when I'm driving. And then I can take that pin out and be able to lift it up, and then I'll have to build some kind of kickstand system so that it can be moved to different angles. So that's what I've got done so far, is just this bracket part. I've got these 2 ends bolted together, and I've already measured everything out, so I got the clearance. So I'll bolt those 2 ends together, those 2 corners. And I've notched everything, so you can see I've taken everything and notched it. That way everything lays on each piece and connects, and even the corners kind of interlock there. So there'll be a little bit of a gap between each panel, and that is because the panels themselves actually have kickstands on them. I don't know if I'll be able to use those, like if this bracket's on there, if those could be the kickstands, like I could lift it up and then put the kickstands down and it would like rest against the top of the van and hold it up, because I don't know if they're actually angled. It's an angle, but I don't know if they're adjustable for different angles. So I really want something that's adjustable, but we'll see. But I'm going to leave those brackets on there because they can come off. But I have to leave them on there just in case, because I've got 90 days on these panels if something happens with them. manufacturer defect, I can exchange them. So I want to leave them together for at least the 90 days. But what happens is the brackets on the back keep me from really butting them up like the panels to each other like this on each rail. So I've got a little bit of a gap. It really won't be a problem, because actually it'll leave me a little bit of a gap to if I need to put anything between them. I don't know what, but maybe a mountain screw or something, I don't know. But anyway, this is where I'm at. So I'm gonna go ahead and get one of my panels back out and just start making sure my spacing is correct, because I've got it marked, but I don't want to drill everything and then come back and find out my spacing is just a little bit off. So I want to be able to put one panel there, drill, bolt, bolt, and then move on and keep the spacing correct all the way to the end. So I think I'll leave that one on the end unbolted till the very end as well. That way if I just need like a millimeter, I can just space that out a millimeter before I drill everything. So anyway, that's where I'm at. So hopefully today I'll at the very least accomplish completing this and getting the panels completely mounted to this, and then I'll start working on the panel for in there and where the wiring's going to go, because I really don't want to get more metal today. I'm only about 10 miles from the Menards that I got this from, but I really don't want to have to do it today. I'm going to be going to town tomorrow, so I'll probably end up getting it then. So stay tuned and we'll continue on. Alright guys, quite a bit of progress here. I've got the frame completely done. I ended up finding out that my bolts, you know, I didn't think ahead, but they kind of stick up a little bit. So I only bolted 4 corners, and then each one of these I went ahead and put a rivet in. So each one has a rivet. So that's plenty strong. It's, you know, going to hold it right where it's at, just like a bolt would. Except there's nothing really sticking up. It's pretty flat. That way my panels can lay the way they need to lay. So now I've got 4 bays for 4 panels. And now all I need to do is mount the panels, but I haven't figured out how I'm going to do that. I think I'm just going to drill through and put a nut and a bolt through each one of them with a lock washer. I was thinking about some self-tapping screws, but I think it'd just be easier to have a nut and a washer on there anyway, a bolt, nut, and washer, and that would work out. And as you can see here, I've started my charge controller panel with my power converter on it. So I kind of went in there and used the piece of cardboard the best I could and measure this. The whole thing's not square because of the way the van's panels are. It's kind of like, this was like 14.5, that's like 13.5, so it kind of slants that way, and I had to round the corners and everything. So I went ahead and mounted this on top, since that's going to be, you know, closest to the panels. And then I mounted this on the bottom, since this will be closer to the battery, because the battery will be under the cabinet that this is mounted above. And then I can just run I got these 2 terminals here, that's what runs to my battery. And then this has an outlet here, an outlet there, and then you can turn this whole unit on and off right here. And then this also has a couple USBs, and this has 1 USB on it. So that's pretty good, pretty sweet. And then I'll go ahead and just mount that whole plate to the wall, because I won't have to do any wiring in behind it, so that'll be nice. That way I can have all my wiring come down, make it really nice, and mount it, you know, onto the wood. That way it's just not dangling, because you've got your solar inputs, your battery, and that kind of thing, and then that's where your DC inputs connect to it. And then of course, you know, on here I'll just have my battery wires coming out and going like probably just like this, and then it'll go down through the cabinet, because there's a little cutout on there already in the corner that has plenty of room. So that's where I'm at, and I think I'm going to go ahead and take a break for a little bit, go inside and probably watch some YouTube and relax, and then maybe I'll come back out and do a little bit more tonight. I kind of want to just get the panels mounted up, and then maybe get this mounted in the van. I don't have any self-tapping screws that I know of. I think I can just pre-drill the holes where I need them, and then just run some screws in there. Like I've got you know, these hex head, I don't think there's a picture of them there. Just regular sheet metal screws, but I don't know, I'll see what happens, what I got, and what I can figure out. So anyway, we'll see if we can finish this video up shortly. Alright guys, so here's the final progress for today. I've got a battery box built and I've got the whole control panel up there built. Let me see if I can hop up in here. Alright, so now you can see it a little bit better. Got the solar controller up there on top and the power converter on the bottom. So now it's pretty accessible because when I do camp, you know, I've got my laptop and stuff sitting up here. And then I can just plug it in right there. And I still got to zip tie this wire up. I couldn't fit it up underneath my wire holder, so I'm just going to zip tie it all to that. And you can see down here, I've got it connected in 2 more spots to the wood. And then the converter batteries are run right into the battery. And then on here, they're both fused, for both the outlets are fused. And works out pretty well. And then you can see I've just got these clips here. This is what you connect the solar controller box to. And then pretty much I can just reach down here when I need to connect it, or when I'm, you know, using it to charge, and connect it all up. And now you can see the panels on up here showing 12.7 volts. Of course, nothing from the solar panel because I don't have them hooked up yet. And then what we've got is, here's the light. I've already ordered some different lights because I really want to run this wire permanently up in to the roof of the van, just like up here, because these are the normal cabin lights. But then I've got this one that doesn't have nothing on it, and then I've got this one here that doesn't have nothing on it. So I thought I would run and put some flat mount lights, kind of like this, but of course they're LED and they're like a newer style for like motorhomes and stuff. So that's what I'm going to do. So what I want to do is hardwire all of this and run. I may cut these off and I may not, because you've actually got connections right there where that light bulb is. So I could run both the lights to that, and then effectively what happens is, same as the barrel plugs, it'll be the same for that load output down there, because these are essentially just called your load outputs. You can either turn it off with the inline switch on those, but you can also, like if I hardwire them in, I can just click this and it'll turn the light on and off. So I could come over here and click that light, and like if I'm coming in the van at night, all I gotta do is reach around the corner, press that light, and I've got light in here. And these are like 3 watts. The new ones are 3 watts also. So, you know, only 3 watts of power per each light, you know, used. So that'll be pretty nice, but I really don't want jacks like plugged into this. I'd rather have these empty, and then if I need to plug something into them, I could do that. Or I could also have this light just like this on the wire, and then I could take it out and hang it at the campsite. You know, I could plug it in there, because this is like, man, I don't know how long this is. It's like 8 or 10 foot maybe, something like that. So I could take this out and, like, you know, hang it up on the pole at a campsite, or hanging it up on a tree, or just about whatever. So that'd be nice. But I went ahead and hardwired. Go ahead and unhook the solar connector here. I went ahead and hardwired the converter in, mainly because it's got its own fuses on there, and also because the old connectors were clamp style, which is fine if you're just using the converter for like a portable thing. You could use the clamp style. But these wires are too short, and I decided to go away from the clamp style and just put terminals on each end and connect them like that. That way, it's hardwired, looks a little better. Plus, you know, clamping the connection and drawing power from it, I thought was going to be a little bit worse than terminals. So at least terminals, it's a good solid connection. And, you know, this is 8-gauge wire here, so I went ahead and used 8-gauge wire up there. But I think it's a little bit better quality 8-gauge wire up here than originally came with this. So anyways, that's what I've done. Just a little bit more wire, clean up the battery boxes, solid in there. And then what I'll do is I may save room right there in case I want another battery, because these are 35 amp hours. If I want another battery, I'll save room there. But then I still want to put my shelf there, and then also leave that for my water jug. And then I kind of want to cover all this up and do something with that, but I don't know what I want to do yet, because I still got to be able to get in here to get to the battery box. So what I may do is leave this open right here and just have it like a netting over it, because you don't really need much to hold for me to hold my stove in, because there'll be a shelf, and then I'll maybe just put some bands over it or something. Something simple, you know. I just want to keep it simple, which is kind of why I just use like a wood panel up there. Just keep it simple. It doesn't have to look great. It's not like I'm going to have guests in here or anything. I mean, it's just a one-person camper van, moto van. So yeah, that's where it's at. So next up in the next video, because I'm going to end this one here, the next video I'm going to finish my bracket for my solar panel and run all the wiring down in here for the solar panels. And then also I'm going to hardwire them in, because you've got a plug-in for solar panel there, but you can also hardwire them in. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to hardwire them in. That way it all looks a little bit nice, and you know, you don't got a bunch of plugs sticking out that could possibly get broken off, and you got to worry about that barrel connection or anything. So that'll be nice. So anyways, appreciate you guys watching. Hopefully you enjoyed my little camper van setup here. And it's just a work in progress. I'm hoping to have the panels on, because I got the trip within a month. So I'm hoping to have all that together before that. So thanks for watching.